Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 105 today for the Brazilian Grand Prix in Season 5. If you guys didn't miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But we head into the penultimate episode of the season, then with the lead for the first time ever of the Constructors' Championship for Ferrari. Myself and Russell, a very consistent race last time out, although it was surprising in the end there to see Hamilton pretty much blow away the entire cushion I had. So we actually come into this very, very close to Hamilton. It now very much is a two-horse race between myself and Lewis here, but we could do a massive job today of keeping the ball in our court going into the final race at Abu Dhabi. If we have a solid race result today, both for the Drivers' Championship against Hamilton, but also against Renault there, because they've been quite inconsistent as of late, and Mercedes have been there to kind of beat them. So I think if we have another consistent result like we had at USA, where myself and Russell are kind of right next to each other on the finishing line, then I think on both fronts we can go into Abu Dhabi very, very confident and comfortable of trying to seal through the kind of double championships, if you will, the drivers and the constructors. But it's easier said than done, and Sao Paulo, yeah, it's one of those tracks on F1 where you just don't really know what's going to happen. Will there be some rain when there's not forecast for rain? Will there be an incident? Will there be a crash, safety car, whatever? You just really can't tell any time, especially in the F1 game as well, around the Brazilian Grand Prix. So let's just go to Saturday, take this little by little and see how it goes.
Welcome to qualifying here in Interlagos as the cars are readying up for what's likely to be a very important session.
The competition is certainly heating up as we head into today's qualifying. Some impressive times showing up during the previous practice sessions. Anthony Davidson, do you think we can expect a similar level of skill to be showcased during today's qualifier?
Well, I certainly hope so. The competition here is extremely tight, and I think we might see some very close times today. Remember, practice isn't just about fastest lap times though, it's about optimization, it's about ratifying your decisions. No one's going to be sweating small mistakes here and there, but in qualifying that all changes. You need to nail that perfect lap or face the consequences, and believe me, that's a lot of pressure.
So we come through to the final corner of the lap here in Q1. A little bit wayward there on the exit with the rear end stepping out on the curb, but it's early days, obviously trying to wind up the speed and get to grooves with this circuit. So if we come across the line in Q1, then what's it going to be? It'll be enough for P3 there on the road. Russell at the moment there on medium tyres, and by the end of the session, we're way down in P14 there. Make it through into Q2, obviously, so that's all fine, but Russell in a very lofty P3 on a set of mediums. He stayed on the mediums and managed to get through with a blistering lap time on medium. So that might show quite the polar opposite to last race, where Hamilton was in a world of his own. We might have some mega pace here at Ferrari, or at least Russell might, because at the moment I'm in P10 after my first flyer in Q2, having to go to a second set of soft tyres then. So this is a little bit worrying in a way. So it seems like, okay, the car has some pace, or it might just be Russell that has the pace. And if that's the case, well, it's good news for the team, I guess, because I'm confident I can still do a better job in the race if I'm going to qualify lower than Russell. But that's a little bit worrying in terms of being beaten by him once again. You know, he's kind of had me in the second half of this season, really, in terms of consistency and the results, I guess you could say, ever since I came off that kind of little stint of having some wins in a row. But we get through eventually into P3. That's a bit more like it there. Only 1.7 tenths off Russell, so that's a lot better. And shocked to see Renault out, both of them out in Q2. So I just literally mentioned before, earlier in the intro, about them being inconsistent. I mean, now they're just plain not performing too well there. So very much so, it is in our hands to try and do a number on Renault going into Abu Dhabi, and you never know, we might even be able to seal out the championship early this race if Renault have such a bad race, and let's say we get the maximum result. I'm not too sure actually what the maths is. It might be a little bit too fine potentially, but we'll have to see. But we go into Q3 then. You saw there, I actually set one lap on medium tyres, and we're actually up into P5 here on the medium. So we've actually done a pretty stonking job on that set of the slower tyres there. But now we come through, we're getting about 3-4 tenths there on that lap to come across the line for P3 in the end only. And out of nowhere, the two Mercedes cars turn up when it really matters there. They get a 1-2 front row lockout for the first time in a long while there. I really thought it'd be a third 1-2 lockout for Ferrari here this season there, but not to be. Second row only, third and fourth, but still very, very, very solid job. And we know the race pace has been getting better every single time we step out on Sunday with this car. Myself and Russell alike, really, because he's been obviously, like I said, showing up mega time. So looking forward to this one. We can do a great number on both the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship there. Let's head on to the race.
As surely as the sun rises in the morning, the Brazilian Grand Prix packs out the grandstands and creates incredible drama. title deciders, heartbreak, triumph and home glory. All these and more can be found in abundance here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if of course the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, and the engineer completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Butler, Lance Stroll, and Perez, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Gasly, and Max Verstappen. Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty. Weber, Nico Hülkenberg, and Bottas. Raikkonen, Norris, Charles Leclerc and Daniel Kvyat. Vettel and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So as of late in this season, we haven't actually had out and out too much overall luck in terms of, we've made our own luck really in the second half of the season, performing well, being in the kind of correct positions here, but we've had a massive stroke of luck at the start of this race with Hamilton there. You would have seen if you watch the grid sequence, has a penalty. It was maybe coming because I had to take 2 in the last few episodes and he had not taken one so far, so it's kind of bound to happen at some point in this season basically, but I was maybe thinking it wasn't ever going to come, or it was going to come at Abu Dhabi. Looks like it's going to have to come today then, and so he's back down in P11, so that is a massive thing for us. That could mean, technically, depending on where he finishes, we could seal the Drivers' Championship today if he was to score no points or something like that, but that's a big if, because, he is so close to us, so, and he's going to be still, obviously, in a pretty decent Mercedes car, so the better thing will be just basically being in a very strong position, I would say, going into Abu Dhabi, and that also helps us out for the Constructors' fight, because now all we have to do as a team, myself and Russell, is to overtake one car, Ricciardo, and then we've got a 1-2 going for us here for Ferrari, whilst Renault are flailing from their qualifying performance and potentially could be in the race, because this is, although it's an exciting circuit, it is also known for its dirty air and a lack of overtaking sometimes, so we're going to have to see how this goes, but I'm actually feeling very positive for the whole team going into this one. Strategy will be a one-stop, it seems like, onto a set of hard tyres. We'll see mid-race what that kind of looks like, basically. There might be an option to move on to mediums, because I think I remember I did that last season as well, so we'll just see how that one goes. But apart from that, we're ready to go, and we're revving up now for the second last race of Season 5 of F1 2019 Career Mode to 5 red lights, the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we are underway. It's a good start for us initially off the line, but an even better one it would seem maybe for my teammate Russell, who's there on the right. We get pinched into turn 1. Ricciardo leads, Russell now up into second place, and behind us in the exit the centre S, the 2 Red Bulls have come together. I think that's Lance Stroll that has tapped the back of Devin Butler and sent him to a half spin, and so now there's a massive gap from the top 3 to the rest of the grid really, and as we have a look on the outside of Russell, can't quite make it work there. He maintains the second place he got into turn 1, but how thrilling was that? But also kind of changes the entire race now, because the top 3 here, myself, Russell, Ricciardo, now have a massive cushion to the rest of the grid and are feeling pretty secluded here, so now it's just a 3-way scrap for the top 3 positions, but lucky enough for us, it's all very close, as I set the fast lap of the Grand Prix on lap number 4 that was going into it, but Russell is still very much on the pace. I think he's only maybe a 10th under that purple lap time, because now, look at him, he makes Ricciardo go defensive into the end of Sector 1 there, so the Aussie feeling the pressure in the silver arrow, and it's going to be only a matter of time, I think, before Russell attacks him, and we're going to try and get in the middle of that, but there goes Russell now for the move, for the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it's pretty darn easy for him on the right-hand side there, gets into turn 1 first, and leads the way at Brazil. And now Ricciardo, he's going to be vulnerable for us. We've got overtake mode, Rich mix to use, and DRS there. He's got DRS as well. He squeezes us right on towards the grass there as we're half on the grass, but we're not having any of it. We want to be on the inside line because I want to do that, exactly that, squeeze him out on the exit there and get it up into second place. And so now it is a 1-2 for Scuderia Ferrari. But for how much longer? Because by the time we get to the end of that same lap, or lap number 5, we're on the back of Russell now within 1 second. DRS open here. Here we go. Pretty simple move, I think, on the outside there, although the brake zone's going to be a little bit tricky. We lock up on the front left, and we've gone very deep indeed. Have to let off and give Russell the room you saw there on the bottom left of your screen. But Russell was given enough room, and we maintain the 1-2 here, and there's no issues there. But for how much longer? Because now Russell will come back at us into turn 1. We're pinched in this time. Again, having issues with that front left tyre there, and Russell again has his nose in this centre S, but now he's got a much better run this time, and he's got DRS as well. We're on overtake mode, Rich, but that won't stop him there. The speed with DRS is just unable to cope with it. We are on the left-hand side. Russell goes diving to the inside into sector 2. We're going to try our best on the exit to keep it side by side, but look at Russell cut across on the racing line just to push me off on the curb there and stop me getting through. And then he kind of half brake checks me a little bit, and we watch behind as Ricciardo now is sniffing around as well. So some brilliant driving from Russell, to be fair to him, on the exit both times there on that left-hander, then up the hill to just place his car correctly, brake at the right time as well, just to kind of put me off a little bit and keep me under bay for second place. But like I said, just like with him, for how much longer can he keep first place? Because we're just going to keep swapping, because it seems like we're so equalised in this Ferrari car, especially come the race as well. We haven't actually had too many on-track battles here, so it's turning into an absolute classic, it would seem already, as we've always swapped positions 2 times, maybe a third to come up here as we move on towards lap number 8. And the more we fight, well, more Ricciardo might be coming through and sniffing around potentially. So hopefully we can try and get the job done and then just pull away for the sake of the 1-2. But to be fair, I'm having a lot of fun battling with Russell, to be fair, as well. So let's just keep it going here. A DRS open then. We couldn't quite get him into turn 1, but that's on purpose. I went to non-ERS mode to get the move done now. Around the outside there, we go the long way around, but get into first place, in a much better place to get into first, because now the second sector will be difficult to overtake there. But we're a little bit slow. Tyre on the grass, and Russell has a little dive, and somehow he's going to make this work the long way around. How on earth has he pulled that off? We tap tyres there on the front. I'm still in bit of disbelief at how George Russell's managed to make that move work. Round the outside he goes, and he gets the job done in the place where I just said it's so difficult to overtake. In real life, the dirty air is a nightmare through this sector. In the game, apparently not so, because Russell just tries to, just dance around, and he's made it work. He's back into first place. What a bonkers fight this has really been. It keeps on going for a third straight lap, it would seem, as we wind through what is just a slingshot, basically, corner onto the main straight here. DRS open for the 5th or 6th time, I don't know. We fake to the right, go to the left there. We're so close from hitting Russell on the front right. We're having a lot of fun with this battle. We're going to try this switchback move now through the exit of the centre S there. Straighten the car faster, get in the tow line there, open DRS when we get to the line activation point. And here we go now, again on this back straight into sector 1, into sector 2 I should say, to the inside this time there, playing chicken with Russell with the grass as well. Back end steps out though, and Russell maintains first place again for a third straight lap now. We've been battling non-stop since lap number 5 or 6 this is, and we keep on going for another round, and all the while that's unfortunately closed up the 2 Red Bull cars. So it's Russell, myself, Ricciardo, then you've got Devin Butler and Lance Stroll in 4th and 5th in the 2 Red Bulls. I believe Hamilton is stuck behind 2 McLarens of Sergio Perez and Lando Norris behind the 2 Red Bulls. So he's in the top 10, but he's having issues right now, and we're having issues now as we try to overtake Russell. Have a sniff of overtaking him on the outside of the second last corner. Instead, that's forces for a double lock-up there, and Ricciardo has been very opportunistic and got it down the inside there. We almost went straight off of that corner, the place where many have had issues, including Kimi Raikkonen getting lost in 2013. But no, we've kept it on the track, but Ricciardo's got us. We're having to re-overtake him now to the inside of the second turn. We get it back into second place, but Ricciardo will have a good run here. Can we have the overspeed to just keep this through? Yes, we can. It would just seem about to keep that position there. So the Ferrari straight line speed helping us there keep the second place, but that was very, very fine margins there. Big big mistake from us for the first time in this Grand Prix that offset us a little bit. So we have to try now chase back after Russell, recompose, and go again to try and get the race lead, which I know we can get. The car clearly has the pace. We just need to try and not make a mistake whilst we do it. And also, crucially, when we overtake Russell, we need to try and break away immediately. Don't get me wrong, the battling's been absolutely brilliant here. Probably the best teammate battle I've had on this game since the release, pretty much last June. But we need to try and think about the greater picture here as we go round the outside now, sailing through, just about somehow slow down the car there, as I nearly went completely off circuit, but then we just slowed the car down enough and get it back up into first place pretty easily actually in comparison. So maybe Russell's tyres now are going off, but maybe that's our cue to really push away, because if we want to maintain the 1-2, we need to kind of almost, you know, at least stop fighting for a little bit, pull away, and then we can continue our battle, of course. So here now Russell is in for a pit stop there. That's on lap, I believe, 13 this is, and we're going to continue on because my engineer has told me to change strategy to go onto the medium tyres on lap 18. I took that 1 lap longer onto lap 19. Russell pit there, you saw, onto the hard tyres. You can see that on the top left there as well. So we're in now. We're going onto the medium. So we are changing strategy, and we've got a different strategy to our teammate and the rest of the grid, because everyone else appears to be going onto the hard tyres. They all pit around lap 13 or 14 when Russell did. So this is the difference here. So we're gonna lose some time here because those in laps were pretty slow on a very worn set of soft tyres, because you already saw Russell's tyres were going off, and that's probably why he came in, because he couldn't handle it any longer. And you can see on the right there of your screen, Russell's gone through. On the top left, we're in second place, down to third even, and we're having major issues on the exit of the pit lane. My God, we almost slammed into the wall there. For some reason, the mediums just really didn't warm up there, through down the exit there, and we're all the way down in 5th place now there. So we've lost 5 positions going longer on the softs, but now this is where the fun begins, because we're on mediums versus everyone else on hards. Their hard tyres are now about 5 laps old now as well, and so this is where we have to try and just get through as quick as we can, flex the muscles of this car basically in the corners, in the straight line, and just get the job done, get in that clean air that you can see in the minimap there, and go chasing after Russell on a set of fresher and softer compounded tyres. So here we go, building up the speed, already got Lance Stroll, and now we go for a massive lunge and a huge overtake on Ricciardo there, with us from so far back, and somehow we've made the impossible move up into 3rd place there, and that is exactly what we need, because now we'll be on the back of Butler. Through Sector 2 is going to be difficult to overtake him, but we'll be right there on the exit into Sector 3 to get the move done, and then we go chasing after Russell, who's not too far down the order actually. So to be fair, you know, in terms of what we've gained in terms of fresher tyres by 5 laps, we're on the softer compounded tyres. You know, to lose only about, I would say that is, I don't know, you know, 5-6 seconds really, I think, how far back we were from Russell in comparison. That's not too bad, because I will make that up, and I'm confident we'll be right back with him to fight for first place. But first we have to make the move on Butler, who doesn't make it easy on me, because he's kind of like a mobile chicane there on the exit of that last corner there, as we have to go a little bit on the runoff to get the move done a bit cheekily. But now we push on, and it's lap 24 then, so we've only got, what's that, 12 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and it's a 1-2 Ferrari once again. All is right in the world in terms of our team, but now we're going to have to try and do our best to swap this as cleanly as we can, and then in theory, unlike the first stint, because I'm on the softer compounded tyre, I should in theory be able to push away and just try and build a gap in first place, because I'm going to need to do that, because remember, my tyres will wear out faster than his hards will, and that's when we'll have issues at the end of the Grand Prix. So it's crucial I get the move done and then immediately pull away, because he's going to come back at me later on in the last few laps. And so here we are then, pulling up on the back of George Russell into turn 1, taking the fast lap of the Grand Prix whilst we do it. And are we going to make the move for first place on the very next lap as we swing through the left-hander? We've got overtake mode already going, DRS open, Russell goes somewhat defensive there. We're going to pull on the right-hand side, go the long way round, and whilst we do that, Ricciardo retires out of the Grand Prix. But that is us up into first place of the Brazilian GP. It's now 3rd place for Devin Butler in the Red Bull there, as he's been gifted that, of course, because he was ahead of Ricciardo. He was actually already ahead of Ricciardo, actually, to be fair, so he actually got the position outright anyway. But anyway, going back to our race then, like I said, it was crucial to get away from Russell, because at the end of this race, as you can see, on lap 35, despite setting a green first sector, he's now within 1 second of us. So we did pull a gap of about 1 or 2 seconds as we went on after that overtake, but he slowly pulled it back now, and so he's stayed within 1 second. for the last 3 laps of this Grand Prix. So by the time we move on to the last lap of the GP, he's only, 3/10 behind us, and he's very much keeping us honest through these corners, keeping the pressure on there, but we're just pulling it through. We've got a little bit of engine wear as well, which might be helping him on every straight pull through with DRS as well, of course, but we're going to come through eventually the last few corners here, up the hill on the last lap of the GP to come through for the win at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and a 1-2 for the team. It's a great day for Ferrari, it's a great day for me, and we've just done a massive number for both championships. We're going into Abu Dhabi very, very comfortable.
We did it, good job.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again.
So 1-2 there, pretty quiet race for Hamilton, a very quiet race for Renault. Means we go into Abu Dhabi then, technically still mathematically in a championship fight with Hamilton, because he could still pull this back if I had an absolute nightmare next race. Hopefully, knock on wood, I haven't jinxed it and we don't. And in the Constructors, this is so close. We're 42 points ahead of Renault now, a massive gap, but mathematically, they could get 43 next race and still win the championship if we had a double DNF or double zero score for Ferrari. So it's literally by a thread on both championships still alive for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which I guess is a good thing in a way, but it's so fine margins. So basically, if we just go out there, do a normal race in Abu Dhabi, no incidents, both for me and Russell, I think we can safely try and seal out this double championship for Ferrari, which will be a massive, massive effort considering where we were. Remember where we were in Australia? We were the worst team on the grid by a mile. We've had a massive turnaround. We've shown what a big team like Ferrari can do if they put their mind to it and, turn this thing around in terms of in the game. The resources Ferrari have, the amount of R&D they get, the pace that everything goes with a quick team, a top team. We've turned this thing around so quickly from the worst to the absolute best here, and it really is the absolute best. I mean, the Ferrari car has been amazing last few episodes for both me and Russell. I mean, it's really an indication that it's good when the AI teammate is doing such a good job, and that was probably, like I said, the best AI battle I've had on this game in terms of against my teammate. Yeah, thrilling stuff there. So guys, if you did enjoy that episode as well, then be sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Do you think Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton could pull off some wizardry and somehow get the win? Let me know in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.